So I guess it's finally time I shared my thoughts on the past 2 seasons of Scissor 7. Don't get me wrong, this isn't something I've personally held off making, it's just been my schedule, it's been very hectic and there's been a lot of topics to talk about. But it brings me great pleasure to finally say, I freaking love Scissor 7. Today's video will be a short one, but nevertheless a video talking about how Scissor 7 has seriously stepped up its game from season 1. The 2 major and significant highlights of Scissor 7, which I'll solely be covering in this video, are the animation for 1, and 2, the world building. Now of course there are many other things that are significantly touched upon since season 1, such as the characters, the story, the pacing, whatever, that's great, but I'm not here to talk about that. These 2 key points alone, the animation and the world building, were so well done throughout seasons 2 and 3, I felt strongly that I could make an entire video just talking about them, and so here we are today. So let me just start off by saying this, it was unbelievably fun seeing all these characters again and returning to this wacky world of Scissor 7. Believe me when I say, when I saw these 2 posters drop over on Twitter, I lost my mind. I immediately hopped over to Netflix and binge watched all 3 seasons, and man, what a ride that was. Like I said before, it was really nice and comforting seeing all these characters and getting familiar with this world again. None of these characters have lost their touch nor charm, which makes them so unique and in this case, hilarious. Every character has their internal struggle, like 7 trying to figure out his past, 13 trying to fight her emotions, and 𝗧𝗪𝗏 watching over 7 as a friend, but also as a parental figure. There's a lot to go on, but those are the key points and it's just great how they execute it. I've been reading a lot of my comments on my last video on Scissor 7 and I've been seeing a lot of you recommend me that I watch the Chinese version, and I did, twice, and it was okay. There was just something about the English dub version that I personally preferred, but because I've seen it both in English and Chinese, the passion that goes into the voice acting kind of works both ways, if I have to be honest. Speaking of voice acting, the original cast has all returned to reprise their roles as the characters that they were, and they are the best that they have ever been. Ronnie Cheng is back as 7 and does a terrific job bringing the character to life. That reminds me, I also saw him earlier this year when he made an appearance in Marvel Studios' Shang-Chi, and he's pretty good in that too. Anyways, enough about the characters, let's dive into those key points. The world building in Scissor 7 constantly gets bigger and bigger, with 7's past being the sole focus of the mystery in the series. On the other hand, that doesn't mean there's no room for depth for the many other characters. We got some insight into some of the main characters' backstories like 𝗧𝗪𝗏, 13 and 𝗃𝐿𝐒, but no one else. Seasons 2 and 3 saw to this and gave us a look into some of the people who live on Chicken Island. Many more assassins make their debut in this season, such as the former assassin Spring Wind Ichiro, and even smaller characters with no dialogue, such as that doctor who actually is an assassin as well. The company Stan gets a highlight in season 2 when 𝗃𝐿𝐒 and Princess Stan have a few episodes together. We learn more about the company and 𝗃𝐿𝐒's origin. However, season 3 does the most world building ever shown in the past 2 seasons. Not only does it introduce us to more assassins, but also their respective organizations. The killer assassins that are after 7 are called the Shadow Killers, and according to one of the members called 𝗃𝐿𝐒𝐂𝐋𝐀𝐈𝐌𝐿𝐄𝐑, she seems to have a bit of a history with 7. Another organization that made its debut in the 3rd season was the Flying Bird section, which 13's sister, 11, seems to have some ties to as well. But what I really liked seeing was 𝗃𝗪𝐿𝐻un's origins and seeing where he came from, learning how he got his abilities and how he was treated. Really gave that character a lot of depth and helped him move past that common trope of being an awkward and stern character, and I really appreciate that. Best of all, he had that moment with 11, a character he's barely interacted with, but it's moments like those where the world building would start to unfold as these characters grow and reveal their past, and it's what I liked the most. I rarely see people commenting on the world building in this series because it's certainly something that's overlooked. It gives a sense of realism to the series just seeing how big this world is getting, how 7 and other characters fit into it. 7 is basically this walking magnet that ties all these new characters we are introduced to together. It goes to show how much 7 has had more of an influence on this world than season 1 lets on. I just love his response to all of this. He feels responsible and guilty that his closest friends are getting hurt because of his past and wants to keep them all safe, which explains why he left at the end of season 2. But as his past manages to catch up with him, he can barely handle himself, and they nailed showing that in season 3. My god, The quality in the animation is absolutely stunning. Season 2. Season 2 was the turning point for this series. The animation was way shinier and clean. It still kept that rough sketch look to it, which I really liked in season 1, but also looked more refined and tidy. It seems as if the art has went through several layers of refinement to get some scenes just right, because to compare this to season 1 and say there's no difference would be absolutely wrong. I love how the team behind the art direction still kept the painting sketch look, but also highlight the characters in each frame to really make it pop in a way. If I had to point out a scene where the quality really shines through, then I would pick this moment between 7 and 13. Here we see how slow motion, practical stunts, and well choreographed animation work in perfect harmony. The part where 7 throws the dagger was actually referenced from IRL stunt movement, which looked great and came out even greater. Season 3. Oh boy, where do I even begin? Alright, let's start from the intro. The intro fucking slaps. It's perfect. It's the right amount of creativity and the right amount of hype. Not only that, but it also sets up the tone for the series. The instrument being played is called a piper and it sounds fantastic. The music shifts from a sinister tone, then to a casual upbeat Scissor Seven vibe, then back to something that's the perfect balance of both, and it just sounds amazing, honestly. Now as for the animation in the season, it is definitely cranked up to 11, with nothing held back. While it does retain some of the old stuff like the usual art style that we are accustomed to, it also embraces newer art styles. Like in the intro, there's a sequence showing 7's split personality, and it's displayed like those old Chinese shadow puppet shows. Other times, like in one episode, it shows a bit of 3D modeling with a hint of 2D blending. 𝗧𝗪𝗏 and 7 are walking from their rooms down the stairs and out to the shop, and it's all shown in a POV shot from 7's perspective. That was really cool. Finally, the outro. I really admire how they go for a more watered down and childish chibi look to the outro, like something out of a nursery rhyme, and it's very calming. All 3 choices of animation work well and shows how creative the decisions are behind the series. The action sequences are really fun and exciting. The lighting and the framework are top notch. I mean, look at this. This is definitely movie material here, and I'm honestly not even surprised that we will in fact be getting a movie. The story they've set up is that good, and I could have seen at least 2 more seasons before the movie, but hey, I'm not complaining. Make as many as you want. I will watch them regardless. Anyways, that's practically everything I want to talk about. Scissor 7 is fantastic, and Scissor 7 has nowhere to go but up at this point, and I'm very much looking forward to what the future has in store for this series. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new, follow me on Twitter, and if you're feeling extra generous, then check out my Patreon and consider becoming a member. Thanks for watching, and see you soon. Life's too short to be having regrets.